Hey folks, it's your boy AA. This video has been sponsored by Paradox Interactive for Age of Wonders 4. Click on the link below to try it for yourself, or you'll experience 7 years of bad luck. That's not a threat, that's a fact.
We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom.
Most people don't know anything about ancient American history. Perhaps it's that they see only the conflict and division that's tearing our country apart. But today I'm going to tell you a tale that America less often told. The tale of the mythical American past. So grab your popcorn and your beverage and get settled deep in your seat, because I'm going to tell you of a history seldom taught in schools, history books, or anywhere else. A tale of the American past. A tale maybe even to make you reborn. A tale to inspire. A story to ignite. A flame to light you ablaze and set your world on fire. It all starts with the earliest Americans, humans born of the nations from all over the world. Americans are magic, arcane and of unknown origin, led by our great but less remembered patriarch, George Washing Wizard, father of our great 50 states. Naturally, people of quick reflexes, destined to be led by George W. Bush, which the W actually stood for Wizard, George Wizard Bush, who spoke for the trees. Magic Johnson, obviously a wizard. Michael Jordan played for the Washington Wizards. Harry Potter Truman. The writing's in the sand. All Americans are magic. And as you probably learned in the history books, from the very beginning, we did reject feudalism, high society, and barbarianism, eschewing Europe and all her quarrels, to ultimately pursue our own capitalist agenda of industriousness, which, despite our unique backgrounds and origins, we forged one American dream. A dream based on hard work, that anyone in our United States could settle his own land and pull himself up by the bootstraps. And so with our national philosophy forged by a union, there arose our great leader, George Bush. George Wizard Bush, the President of the United States. Wizard King from beyond, whose arcane powers would shape the futures of the Americans. Mounted on his horse with his magical powers, he led our armies to the great founding American settlement of Texas, the first of the 50 states. There he led his Rough Riders to seed and settle the new lands. And so this was how President Bush began to settle the continent. The early America was an isolationist nation. After its separation from Great Britain, the country was divided up into provinces, with each city producing food from the farms, reaping the bountiful nutrients of the earth like a fresh green breast. Breast. As well as harnessing the industrial capacity of the woods around to add to our developing nation's production prowess, spreading our settlers into the adjacent lands like newly planted seeds, while the president and his band of Rough Riders conquered the uncouth and untamed savage lands around the civilized settlements. There were the halflings, small and aggressive people, but no match for President Bush and his stalwart companions, ogres and giant spiders. And so we explored the lands, killing almost everyone except when we met this intelligent cat man, to whom we offered this whispering stone to sway him as one of my vassals. Meanwhile, Texas grew and expanded with farms to grow our population, as President Bush, the Wizard King, led his armies on campaigns to tame the savage lands and befriend the local intelligent felines, of which there were several: fire dogs, golems, and women. The lands were home to all kinds of fantastic species, but perhaps the most dreadful of them all, Gloom Hooknail, queen of the goblinoids with a dangerously long nose, good for picking, and also apparently insulting people. And so the diplomacy of the 4X variety commenced. It was Gloom Hooknail and her bad attitude. She rated me as a -275. Cautious. I said nice things about her to make her like me, but then she just kept denouncing me by insulting me. Every time that she told me she didn't like me, she got even angrier, further justifying my cause for war. But being of a genial predisposition, I decided to just keep sending her money until she liked me. It seemed like a good plan, But this made her accelerate with the rate at which she kept telling me that she disliked me, making her even angrier and angrier until I ran out of money to give her, and then she just hated me. So I gave up and started improving Texas again. I swayed the cat man with my whispering stone, boosting my allegiance with my civilization points. I enchanted my scouts to see farther with magical spell of Crow Companion. And I completed a side quest to expunge the evil floating eyeballs from the frozen wastes to our north. After that, unexpectedly, President Bush experienced a random fugue event, recalling his time floating in the void, and how he erected wizard towers. Erected. Boosting the prolific efficiency of Texas to unimaginable levels. With the transformation of our president completed, we cast a magical spell to encase all the American warriors in solid rock-plated armor. And we began to explore to the very ends of the earth at its four corners, meeting new people, the electrical cats of Enamru and Cannon, and the hostile amphibians of Slagholm, as well as discovering new locales, the vast and expansive majesty of the Northwest Sea, and the fiery obsidian depths of the lava beneath the surface of the earth. Where, as it happens, there was a whole civilization of mole people that I just completely ignored for almost in the entire game. That aside, as we explored the lands, we attempted to continue expanding Texas, but Gloom Hooknail and her foul race of goblin companions thwarted our attempts to expand by capturing our claimed provinces, adding to our casus belli, along with a list of other grievances, trespassing in our domain, capturing nearby ancient wonders, and then trespassing again. I wanted to be a nice person, so I had to send President Bush, the Wizard King, all the way around the goblinoid lands in order to avoid touching anything that they had already claimed. A task that was gargantuan and took a whole 9 turns of planned movements, carefully embarking into a ship and then back out of it and edging all the way around each of the purple hexagons. And this was honestly a pain in the ass. But upon arrival back in our homeland, he used the opportunity to establish the second city of our grand empire, Florida, home to Jeb Wizard Bush, Governor of Florida, Cannon. After another brief and random encounter where I successfully convinced one of my vassals that she was supposed to love her own daughter, with my 60% chance of persuasion, I established a temple of fertility in both Florida and Texas, solidifying their growth. And then I mustered the combined military strength of our two armies, George with his orb of lightning and Jeb with his sledgehammer, to march south toward... Well, there was coincidentally a nest of angry phoenixes who were just becoming a generalized pestilence because they kept coming up north to occupy our resource nodes. Both George and Jeb Wizard Bush perished in battle multiple times attempting to expunge the hot threat of Phoenix. Coincidentally, our main leader, George, just respawned at the temple, but instead I had to keep reincarnating Jeb as various successors like Jeb Bush II, just to keep sending them to their doom at the hands of the angry phoenixes. This necessitated the summoning of the most powerful and senior of American presidents. And so it was that I summoned the demonic, fiery beast that was George H.W. Bush. That is, George High Wizard Bush. So many generations of American presidents had led to this. The Triforce had been completed. The 3 Bushes who spoke for the trees brought back the natural harmony to the lands that had once been devastated, casting their magical spells to bring an end, finally, to that endless winter that had ravaged those desolate lands. It was time to invade, once and for all, the goblins in the forsaken lands of Gloom Hooknail, the witch queen of the goblinoids, and restore those snowy fields to their former natural beauty. And so this marked the beginning of a series of campaigns whereby the 3 Bush generals, wizard kings, all of them, rode their noble spider mounts into battle to end the global warming that the goblins were spreading throughout the lands. They rode their spiders into battle, leading the combined American forces and laying siege to the goblin capitals of Nightwatch, Dominance, Pyrus Tur, and Thorncroft, all for the freedom of Texans, Floridians, and Ohioans. Which, coincidentally, right after we took over their city, they immediately rioted because they didn't want to be free, but instead preferred to be enslaved to their goblin overlords instead. But that didn't matter. They had now the freedom to choose not to have freedom and just give it up. So that means we're the good guys. It's an allegory. After that, with the Goblin Queen dead and gone, there wasn't much left to do in the game. There were about 13 turns left, and I still had this massive army that was preventing my cities from developing economically because it was costing so much in upkeep, so I decided to sail across the sea to attack the capital of the army of humanoid kitty cat people. We destroyed it, but we couldn't conquer their empire because I just ran out of turns. Victory! Finally, George Wizard Bush was crowned with his rightful pointy wizard hat, and then he ascended into heaven. And that, my friends, is the true, factual story of the ancient American past. So now you know where we come from, though any relation to real-world, modern, or historical figures is entirely coincidental. Age of Wonders 4 is out now. If you ever imagine what it would be like to combine Crusader Kings and 4X games like Sid Meier's Civilization into a fantasy strategy RPG, then this one might be right up your alley. Honestly, I like it. Anyway, if you want to check it out, my link is in the description. I'm AA, a big thanks to my patrons and channel members who are magic. Until next time, my friends.